Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most distinguished guests. Now, who here loves a good old-fashioned story? Me too. Now, the story that I want to tell you guys has action, suspense, and of course, a happy ending. Now, once upon a time, there was a farmer and an old mule. And one day, the mule was walking around the farm, and he stumbles and falls into this deep well and begins crying loudly. And hearing the cries, the farmer comes over and assesses the situation, looks around, ponders for a couple seconds. He knows this well is deep and the mule's heavy. And he knows it's going to be difficult, if not impossible, to lift the animal out. So he gives it another minute or two, and he decides, I'm going to go ahead and bury the mule in the well. This way, I can solve two problems. I can put the old mule out of his misery, and I can fill the dry well. Now, he knows that it's going to take a little bit of work, so he goes around getting all his neighbors to come help them, and they agree, tells them about the situation. So, they're in the well. To work they go. Shovel full of dirt. After shovel full of dirt, start going down the well and falling on the mule's back. Now the mule gets hysterical. I mean, wouldn't you? They're trying to bury him alive. And the mule gets this brilliant idea. Every time that they throw dirt on my back, I can shake it off and step up. So shovelful after shovelful, the mule shakes it off and steps up. Now a couple hours go by, and the mule's almost at the top, and a crowd starts gathering, and it's getting excited. Almost the news is there. And so the mule's almost at the top. I mean, he is exhausted and dirty, but he's alive. So a couple more minutes go by. The mule's at the top of the well, and he steps over the top, and the crowd goes nuts. I'm not expecting you to, but the crowd goes nuts. And so the mule walks through the crowd with his head up high and happy that he's alive, and that no matter how bad it got, he did what it took to get through in that tough time. Now, a great attitude and a great way to approach life. Shake it off and step up. I mean, too often we hold on to what's happened to us, right? And we hold on to it for weeks, months, or years. And we can't shake it loose from our memory. And then it eats at us and steals our joy and our happiness and our peace of mind. And the past hurt can actually cause bitterness and anger and resentment. But we don't have to do that. You can let those emotions get thrown on your back and get buried in the well, or you can shake it off and step up. I think everyone should try it. Shake it off and step up. They heard the story too. Now I want to tell you about another story about shaking it off and stepping up. Have anybody ever heard of Chris Gardner? For those of you that haven't, this is amazing. This is the ultimate shake it off and step up story. Now this is a rags to riches story about a guy living in San Francisco who gets everything thrown at him, but he makes it happen. Just to kind of paint a quick picture. Chris is living in San Francisco. He's a young guy, he's right out of the Navy. Sees this guy with a red Ferrari. And this is a turning point, which for most people, a red Ferrari is always a turning point. And he sees this guy, and he beelines for it, and he's like, "Sir, I just got to ask you 2 questions. What is it that you do, and how much do you make?" And the guy's like, all right, I'll answer that. I'm a stockbroker, and I make 80 grand a month. And he was so excited that from that point on, he went and applied at every internship to become a stockbroker. And he knew that that's what was going to get him past all of the bad stuff and bring his family to a better life. Now, along his journey, he makes it into the internship. His wife leaves him with his 2-year-old son. So now he's got to keep his son all by himself, go through an internship program. Living in San Francisco is pretty expensive. And this is in the early 80s, so it's not as expensive, but it's still a lot of money no matter what. And along his internship, he becomes homeless. But he made a promise to his son that no matter how bad it got, he wanted to be a father figure to his 2-year-old son and show them that he could shake it off and step up and be that man in his life that he needed. Even though his mom had left him, he was going to be there. So he has a long internship, is homeless, goes from church, and even in some instances has to sleep in his desk, and worse, on occasion, has to sleep in the train station with his son holding him in the evening. But no matter how bad it got, he made it through the intern program, and there was only one person that would make it. To this day, Chris Gardner is a multimillionaire. 2006, Will Smith played him in The Pursuit of Happiness. You might have heard that movie. Now, I want to leave you with this. No matter how bad things get, are you going to let yourself get buried in the well like the mule, or are you going to shake it off and step up like Chris Gardner? I'll leave it at that.